What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler, and we are back for another video in our Avengers Endgame community series, and we are covering Avengers Endgame now that this movie is actually out. We're doing a video a day. We've had several videos already go up. Make sure you guys go check those out. We're talking a lot about spoiler scenes in the movie, and this video is no different. We're going to be talking a little bit about the ending of this movie, so if you guys don't want to know spoilers, please turn away now until you are ready for it. We want to talk about why we believe Steve Rogers, Captain America, will return. Now, it's a little bit tricky. We're going to discuss exactly the right circumstance that he would return, and kind of go over, again, the ending, what happened to him. Again, if you guys have seen it, you know how the ending and what happens with Captain America, him passing it off to Falcon, which we'll also have a video on in the next couple days talking about that decision as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Tyler. And Tyler, why do we believe that we will see, and when will we see Captain America again?
Well, I'll say this. I don't, and this is important. I'm pulling up a graphic right now. We had we had 6 theories of what would take place in Avengers Endgame. 5 ended up coming true. In the past, Infinity War, other movies, Star Wars, we said things would happen. They did. So we have a very good track record on this channel. Just want to tell you that up front. And the reason is because what I'm about to say is probably extremely likely. And that is Steve Rogers, Captain America, Chris Evans, will not be in any more Marvel Cinematic Universe films. But I do believe we will see him at least 1 or 2, maybe even 3 more times. And it would be on the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show. I think it makes sense to have him in it. Probably on the final episode, he's in it literally a minute or 2 minutes. Something like that. Wouldn't even be surprised if in season 2 of that or something, maybe we get Steve Rogers' funeral. But I almost am 100% certain that we will see Steve Rogers again, and only on the Disney Plus Falcon and Winter Soldier show. So here's the reason why he won't be in the films anymore. His Steve Rogers' story it's over. It's concluded. Very good ending. We did have some issues with the details of it, but looking at it overall, I love how they did it. He finally got that dance that he's been waiting for with Peggy. It was an amazing scene. I'm so glad that that's how it ended. It just, when you see it and then he goes for the kiss, because he never got to kiss her, and he goes for the kiss, it's like, yeah, you know what? This is really, this is how he deserves to go out. Because if you really think about Captain America and Steve Rogers, since the very first movie, the first Avenger, he was in World War II. Then he obviously misses that date, and he's frozen, and he comes out, and then only a few weeks later is the events of Avengers, then it's a war with aliens. And then after that, then it's the events of Winter Soldier, where it's S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra. S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra, and he's kind of at war with Hydra. And then Age of Ultron happens. Then he's at war with all these robots. Then Civil War happens, and he's at war with his own team members. And then Infinity War, and he's surviving after that because they're on the run. They're fugitives. And then Infinity War happens, and he has one of the biggest wars of his lifetime, fighting to protect his friends, to protect the Earth, not really knowing that he could wipe out half the universe, and then they end up finding out that he does. And then Endgame happens, and we have to save. This is the fight for our lives, is what he says, and this is it. No second chances. This is to save everybody. Then they have the biggest war that he'll ever have in his whole life, and it is the fight. It is the war for the entire universe, because 2014 version of Thanos that comes into 2024 he doesn't want to wipe out half. He wants to wipe out the entire universe. So this is all or nothing. If they lose, everybody dies. Everywhere. They have to stop him. This is the ultimate war. This is the war for life. They win. He's been at war his entire life. Leading up, as soon as he turns into Captain America, he's at war. He is at total war. His whole life. Now that that's over, and there's so many heroes now, and then he was able to save people, other heroes are back. Now the world no longer really needs Steve Rogers. They no longer need Captain America. He can pass that mantle on. There's others that are here that will defend the universe, defend Earth, and it's time for him, especially because he has the chance. It's time for him to go and be with the woman that he loves, that he wanted to be with. He couldn't stop thinking about her in all these movies, and we saw that his whole journey. He always is thinking about Peggy. That was the love of his life. That was in Endgame. He says that in like a therapy group. So to end it this way, the man who's going through all of these wars, the war is over, and it's time for him to go home, and he does that. So because of all that, you should not. Honestly, it would be, in my opinion, a crime if they brought him back into the movies. It just shouldn't happen. To have him have a small cameo, if like Sam or Bucky meets him for like lunch, or they're in his house for coffee and they're just having like a story and like that kind of thing in one episode, and literally it's like a 3-minute scene or 2-minute scene, whatever. That's all that he should kind of get, just to kind of show like, hey, he is still alive, he is still here. He's just no longer Captain America. That's Falcon now. But it's just kind of a way to kind of pull him back in, maybe give some advice as like kind of like a different kind of compass, because Sam he's not a super soldier. He didn't have all those experiences that Steve had. So it's kind of different. So to have that as like a mentor, just a little bit of a mentor, would be kind of cool to see. That he's not in the fight, but he's still there. He's still part of it. So I just think that'd just be really nice to pull him back in just very quickly. It's not even that hard. It's just some makeup, a little bit of CG. It's not that hard for them to do. And it would work. I think it works very well for Chris Evans. It only takes a few hours of his time rather than weeks to do movies. So I think it all works out. It makes sense to bring him back just a couple times. Then he can pass away or something like that. And then we get a little conclusion in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV on the Disney Plus, the show. And don't forget, because it's a new thing for Disney to have their own shows now on their own platform, they kind of do have to have something that makes you want to watch it. There has to be that, like, oh, you know what? Let's check this out, because it's Falcon and Winter Soldier, and some people like them, and maybe not others maybe others aren't into them as much. But if they say like, hey, guess what? You got to watch this episode because on the season finale, or you got to watch the series on the season finale, Steve Rogers is in it, and people will be like, wait, I love Captain America. I want to see more of him. So then they watch the show. Then they end up really liking the characters. So it's kind of that draw, which we all know that's marketing. So it just totally makes sense to me. And I'm okay with that. Bringing him in the show is fine just for a little bit, but bringing him to the movies, no. That just won't happen. They won't do that to him. The other thing I want to say really quick is we know that Chris Evans, he wants to kind of retire from acting a little bit. Well, I don't know. You hear these actors say that they're retired and then they show back up. So it's kind of confusing sometimes. But we know that he wants to direct. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to direct a couple of episodes, even just a handful of episodes, of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just to get some experience. And remember, we know that Kevin Feige has said that they would love to have Chris Evans stick around and maybe even direct some stuff. They want to keep him close. And I'll try to find that quote. I know that was said. I'm going to try to find it to have it as a graphic for this video. But, and they wouldn't just say that to say it. I bet that's what they were talking about. I bet they were talking about, he can come and he could direct some of these smaller, the Disney Plus shows, and he's still around. If he's already there, they could put makeup on him, make him that old Steve, and he could be on the show. I mean, he'd literally be there to direct, so he's right there anyways. So when you think of it like that, it does make sense for them to want to keep Chris Evans, to keep Steve Rogers, really, that name, but Chris Evans, around a little bit, give him a smaller job. It gets him experience. It gets his name out there for like the directing and all that, that kind of stuff. It totally makes sense if Chris Evans directs a few episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And again, he's right there. Steve Rogers can be right on the show.
Yeah, I Completely agree, especially towards that ending there. I think when it comes with the show, it's exactly what Tyler said. Yes, it's going to be big. Yes, the Disney Plus, a lot of people are very, very excited for it. They're making it, cost friendly for people. They're having all of these shows and they're bringing all of their, original movies and all that stuff. It's got a lot of reason to sign up for it, but still, when you're introducing these new shows, especially with characters like Falcon and Bucky, and yeah, people like them for sure, but they're not top tier, and neither is Wanda and Vision for that matter. And we'll talk about that in future videos. None of these characters, right, are the biggest characters in the world. But like Tyler said, if you come in with it and the season premiere, the first episode of this new show, Captain America, Steve Rogers, Chris Evans is in the episode. Even again, for 3-4 minutes, it's just a conversation. It's just one scene. That's still awesome, and that still will bring people in because ultimately, like Tyler said, if you tell the average person that he's in the show, people are going to watch the show for him, but they're probably going to enjoy the episode as a whole. They're going to see, oh, this show is different. This show, is focusing on these two characters. I like these two characters. I like what they're doing with the show, and they're going to fall in love with the show and stick with it. So I 100% think that's an easy one. I think by leaving him alive, he does come back. He's much older. He will end up dying, and like Tyler said, maybe they could do a funeral thing like they did with Peggy in Civil War. Maybe they could do that in the Falcon Winter Soldier show. But at the same time, you can have this AAA, name star, Chris Evans. You can bring him into the show. It doesn't take a lot of time. He's alive, so there's really no reason not to in that way. And that's just a way of getting people to watch. It's really, really easy. And then you get people to watch because of him, and then they stay because of the show. So I think, and I completely agree. I mean, once you see the end of the movie and you see that he's still alive, even though he's very old, I think the possibility is wide open for him to appear in the TV show, especially to help out a brand new TV show. So I 100% agree. But guys, let us know in the comments below. What do you think? Chris Evans did say he's retired. He's done. But what do you think? Would you like to see him back in the TV show? Do you think he could ever come back in another movie? Let us know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And again, we're having a new video on Avengers Endgame every single day. So make sure you check out the videos you've missed. And look forward to every single day over the next week plus of us talking about Avengers Endgame. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you for those videos.